What's up, everybody? James Corbett here with Project Refit. Nice to see everybody. I'm gonna wait for this thing to catch up over here on Instagram. There we go. Very good. We are supposed to have another guest today. Looks like that's not going to work out, which stinks because I was really looking forward to. I was really looking forward to speaking with this person, but that's okay. If they jump in, we'll bring them in. If they don't, that's all right. The show must go on. Most importantly, I'm here to talk to you guys and here to hang out with you guys. And, maybe we can, chat a little bit and talk about some topics, quick updates. So Project Refit was down in North Carolina, led by the one and only Tanner Montana, as Rocco loves to call him. And actually, the team was Anthony Delgado. We actually had him on this show a couple times. It was Tanner Ortiz and Anthony Rocco. And they went down to three of them to North Carolina. A lot of people ended up dropping last minute, which stunk. I think we had a group of like 10 that were ready to go. Ended up being the three that executed. Um, that kind of happens with big missions like that. Things come up, people can't do it, they get nervous, whatever it might be. No judgment, no hate, nothing like that. It is what it is. But they didn't. They were not nervous. They were nervous, but they went through it. They did it. They executed, and they made the shit happen. So I'm super proud of those guys for getting out there and doing it. They also had the opportunity to meet Tulsi Gabbard. That was awesome. Being able to be down there and meet a former presidential candidate. And she was down there helping out in North Carolina. And, they were too. And just so happened to be able to come across each other and meet up. So that was pretty neat. Um, yeah, man. So nothing really prepared. I was really looking forward to this guest. Again, if they come in, we'll talk. If not, that's okay. So we're just going to kind of go with it. If anybody wants to join, send me a message. I'll send you a link and you can come in, hop in and talk to me. Would love to have that. Would love to have a conversation with you guys. But yeah, something I've been doing a lot of recently is reading. I love reading. I love reading tons of books and learning. And I've actually been learning a little bit more about. I'm kind of going back to the older guys, thousands of years ago type guys, the philosophers and such. And man, there's a lot of good lessons in learning that's in there. That quite honestly, people that came before us really knew and understood about the human psyche, and how important and crucial it is for growth and healing and moving forward mentally. Is quite honestly one of the most important things is talking to other people and sharing stories, uh, especially in a manner where it isn't that you won't be challenged or argued against. It's actually where you go to people that you trust who will argue with you and who will try to um, prove your thoughts inside wrong. Like that is something that we need because too often we get caught in this, place of negativity and we believe our own lies and crap, right? Though that is something that happens to many people, and they don't have a good group around them to what we call in refit, and what we've deemed mental combat, where you're not doing that. You're not arguing against someone's negative side of their mind, together as a community. And that's something that we are trying to incorporate more and more and bring to the forefront. What's up, Rocco? Um, Bring to the forefront of not only uh, refit, but hopefully even eventually like societies. So, the society around us that is America. We're really trying to change the narrative around mental health in terms of how the heck can we, you know, challenge each other and push each other to be better, and to, instead of looking at negative circumstances as negatives, how can we take those negative circumstances and twist it into a positive, right? Literally, not just twist it, but genuinely twist it. and like truly see the positive inside of it. Being grateful for things, that's, and recognizing that the methodology of always forward is so important. Um, of course, always forward doesn't mean that you don't take the time to kind of like sit back and go, all right, what the hell just happened? What did I just go through? What about this scenario actually has messed me up? What is the thing that I haven't been able to really process yet, or that I haven't given myself a chance to process? So, those are just some of the things that you know, I have personally learned and seen that has worked for others inside of Refit and worked for many people is, trying to challenge that. But you have to stay around the community that wants to do that for you and with you. Because there's a ton of people that do want to do that. What's up, Ray? Good to see you, baby. If you want to jump in, by the way, Ray, come on in today. Would love to see you, bro. Um, I will send you a link ASAP, dude. It's actually the same. You already have the link. If you want to use that link to jump in. I'm alone today. I thought I was going to have a guest, and I was really looking forward to our guest. It was a badass female leader in the military who, she's leading groups of men in the combat. And I was looking forward to talking to her and her experience and things like that of being a woman in the military, leading them into combat, and what that is like. So, especially being a woman doing that, right? So, I was looking forward to that conversation, but not coming up. So anyway, what was I saying? Something important. Oh, bringing up that whole thing of dialogue, right? So what I'm trying to get down to is the importance of dialogue and actually having conversations with people, and, sharing and talking about things. And again, having someone that can challenge that negative side or that negative thought process inside your mind to be able to grow together, right? What is the actual truth? The whole truth. Like, what is the truth that I am living in right now that I can push forward from and to. That conversation is crucial, man. It's crucial. You got to have that. Um, Wade and I actually were talking about something where he had a therapist say to him, uh, "Hey, instead of you going and talking to," and I'm sharing this, I hope in full confidence that he's okay with it. I think he is, and I know he is. He's fine. And if it's not, ask forgiveness, not permission. So, and it's Wade. He's my boy, and you guys know Wade. Wade's the man. He's a refit guy, refit leader. So Wade said, he's like, I had a therapist say to me, a while ago, almost a year ago, that I shouldn't talk to my mom. I should avoid that trauma and avoid going through that difficult conversation, and, and not try to repair a relationship with my mom and just like move on with my life. And I did not agree with that. He said, I did not agree with that. I fucking said, no, fuck that. And what he did instead is he went to his mom and said, hey, mom, listen, I want to have a relationship with you. I, I don't want us to lie to each other anymore. And I really want to, support you, and I want you to support me emotionally. And I want to have a relationship with you. Please, can we do that from a place of trust? And he said, I'm never going to judge you. He said, I'm never going to judge you for anything. Just tell me the truth and let's work with each other. And man, he's like, bro, I've never had a better relationship with my mom since. Like, I've had the best relationship with my mom my entire life now. And he did it because he went through the pain of that conversation, of having those hard, difficult conversations. It is amazing. It's absolutely fantastic. He stuck up for his relationship with his mom. He stuck up for his family, and to himself. He stuck up to himself, and also to his past, really. And he also stuck up to someone who was telling him to avoid that shit. No, you don't avoid the pain. You go through the pain. You go through it to grow from it. You go through it with other people that want to support you in making that decision to have a good relationship, right? Because that's a healthy thing. That's a good thing. If it didn't work out and his mom's like, fuck you, which she wouldn't have done, and, fuck you, like, I don't want to have a relationship with you, then it's like, I tried. At least you tried, right? And now they're having a great relationship, man. And you can't take that's right. You can't take advice blindly from anyone, even from therapists, even from psychologists, psychiatrists, doctors. Like, we're all human, we're all fallible. No one knows all of the answers. You need to really think for yourself. That's what you need to get down to. You can get great tools. By the way, this isn't bashing therapists. We don't bash therapists here at Refit. We don't do that. If you need to go get some tools, go get the tools from your therapist, go talk to a psychologist, psychiatrist, but eventually you want to get away. You want to think for yourself, right? Um, And it's just so crucial, man. It's so crucial to have that stuff, and to have those conversations to move forward. So right, the pain sucks, but there's a so Angel says, right, the pain sucks, but there's another side. When you go through the pain and come out the other side. That's right. That's right. That is the other side. That's right. You go through the pain and you come out the other side. That is crucial, man. Hey, what's up, Mark? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Um, Rocco says he had a conversation like that with Travis, his son, last night. Those are so important. Yeah, man, they are. They're so important. You got to have those conversations. You got to have open communication. It's so important to lay things out on the table and to be honest and lead from the truth. As much as possible, as much as you can, lead from truth. It's so crucial and important. Um, but yeah, man, I was really when Wade shared that with me, I was like, damn, that's some gangster shit. That's what you got to do, dude. You got to stick up for yourself. You got to stick up for your family. You got to stick up for the visions and the things that you want and you go after. So nothing but respect for him for that, honestly. And if you guys know Wade, he's a G. So he made it happen, baby. But yeah, what can we talk about today? What else can we talk about? There's so many things. Gosh. I've been going through a lot of learnings of Plato, rereading actually a lot of things that I read years and years and years ago, and I'm revisiting it now with a new mind, and new, I guess you could say, understandings of the world and how like everything is made up. We created everything. The world is really your oyster, truly. You can do what you want to do to a certain degree and extent that you can create things. That's the kind of society that we live in. And I'm so happy and grateful for that. I just, there's so many amazing things that I wanted to revisit old readings that I once read and learn from. There's a Heraclitus. I think it was Heraclitus, who said that you can't step in the same river twice. He's actually a guy that was around Plato's time period. There's so much good reading and philosophy and things like that. It's sometimes difficult to read, but it's so important to do it as a group when you're reading those kind of things, because it's like because it's so deep and we live in a modern society that does not like to have those deep conversations. For some reason we don't like to discuss those hard topics, which I think is crucial. Personally, I think we need to have those hard conversations. We need to talk about words that you're using. I was talking to a guy the other night who kept on using very negative words, and I pointed out to him, I was like, bro, listen, like, you're talking real negative right now. Almost everything coming out of your mouth is negative that you are saying about yourself and about that situation. Why are you doing that to yourself? We have to figure that out. Like, what is happening where you just constantly talk negative on yourself? Um, and an example of why, actually, the thing that I brought up to him that was so important, it's a realization I had. you know we we as a society today forgot about things like follow me here, please. I'm going to use some weird terms, but it's an analogy, meaning I'm using an image or a word to describe another situation. It's an analogy. So um back in the day there was witches and shit, right? And witches would cast spells. So what's the difference between, when you're writing something out, what do? You're spelling a word. When you're writing, you're spelling things, right? um I held up a piece of paper because it has words on it. So, when you create these spells, or you're spelling out these words, when you begin to speak these things inside your mind, you're using certain words, you're spelling them in your mind. And when you write it out on paper, that's why when you write out the crazy shit on paper, or you record the crazy shit that you're saying in a recording and you rewatch it again, you're like, whoa, like what? Why was I thinking that way? What am I doing here with that? Why does my face look like that? You're casting like these spells in your mind to destroy yourself. and you are destroying yourself. And if you look at history that way and you look at stories that way that have been written by thousands of years ago or hundreds of years ago or 100 years ago, and it's these examples of these people, you're giving power, right, Angel, exactly. You're giving power, good or bad, to these words. You give power to those negative things where if a bad situation happens, what's the good? How can I find the good in this? Right? Uh, Logotherapy, I think it's logotherapy, is very similar to that, where you try to find the good in everything. It was written by this guy, Viktor Frankl. Um, and please do not talk about politics on this at all. I don't want any of it. I'm not joking. No joking around, no playing around, not talking about that shit. No politics are allowed in Refit, no religion. We can't do that, sadly. None of it. That is all for other things. Anyway, so um, thank you. I appreciate that. So when you're casting these spells and such, in your mind, you actually, you know, you destroy your mind. You destroy yourself, and that's real. And I've witnessed it with people. If you talk to, so I've had the privilege of being able to talk to many people who are homeless. Through when we did our socks program, I was able to deliver a bunch of socks directly to people for years. I think it took me like 2 years to finally hand out 2.5 years to finally hand out like 2,000 pairs of socks. And I was able to talk to a bunch of homeless people, and I was talked to a few of them multiple times, and constantly with some of these homeless people, and some of them helped out in other ways, but um, constantly there were like these negative words that they were using about them. It's like, hey man, like why do you use those words? Like, oh, it's just this way I am, it's how I am, blah blah blah. They're subscribing themselves to that end. They're subscribing themselves to that negative, right? And they're believing it. So here's what I'm actually getting to put a little bow on it. And it's going to be a challenge to the mental health industry overall. I think we lean in too much into the diagnosis of things. And I think people in general lean too far into the diagnoses that they get. I really believe that. I could go around and talk to you guys constantly about like all the things that I have wrong with me, all the things that I struggle with, all the things that I have issues with, right? I could do that. Or I could say, all right, I'm using the diagnoses that I have, and I will use them as a guiding light to be like, okay, these are areas I need to improve on. These are things I need to fill in the gaps with. These are people I need to partner with to help me in this way, because I can't do this so well because of who I am. But I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm not going to let it crush me and then act it as if like I'm a victim to my own brain. No, that's why actually I have this tattooed on my arm. It's called Vincet Qui Sait Vincet, which is Vincete Qui Sait Vincete, which is literally he conquers who conquers himself. Thousands of years ago that was written. Thousands of years ago that was written. It's talking about shit like what I'm talking about right now. I can't let my own self take me out of the fight or out of the situation. Like it does not make sense at all. Like it is, I cannot allow even like back issues that I have, leg issues that I have. I'm not going to let it stop me from doing certain things, right? I might begin to crumble in other ways, but I'm absolutely not going to allow them to control me. So let me go back and read some things. I got some good stuff that came through. So Mark says, I've been trying to have a strong conversation with someone in my family. However, she just doesn't want to hear it, which causes issues within the family from their decisions. How do you get through to someone like that, especially if the outcome is really bad by doing it? Really bad by doing it is the rest of that. Especially if the outcome is really bad by doing it. By doing what? Having the conversation, just to clarify. And Mark actually, Anthony actually, Anthony, Rocco actually responded to Mark. He said, all you can do is speak your truth, say your piece. And if she receives it, great. If not, she is her own person. You can't force her to see your side or hear you out. Put it out there softly so it's not coming out as an attack, and hope she accepts your truth. And you can be, yeah, sorry, Rocco. Was just reading. Uh, but if they continue down, the path she's going down, probably negative things are going to happen. Listen, Mark, at some point, um, you say what you got to say in any way, whether it's softly or not. Quite honestly, I don't think soft is always the best approach. Sometimes you got to give the hard truth hard. You have to be really difficult sometimes and give them truth, very bluntly. And if they take that as being very negative, then that's on them. But sometimes that's the appropriate way to take. So choose your path and how you want to communicate that. I think it's more fair to be blunt and honest and clear than to be soft and passive and not. So I don't really like that approach. So because you can be very blunt and very caring all in the same time, all at the same time, and I have found that to be insanely effective in getting points across. Um, so but like I was gonna say, and like Rocco has said actually very well, you can only lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink it. You know what I mean? You lead a horse to water, can't make them drink it. If you did your best, you know you did your best. That's you got to keep going forward with it, 100%. Angel said that I try writing a letter when someone doesn't want to communicate, gives them time to prepare a response. I love that. Gives them time to think, prepare a response, especially if you write a letter that's written too. You get a chance to write your own thoughts. And you get to print your brain really on paper, which is really cool. There's tons of great ways to communicate a very difficult topic with people or have a very difficult conversation. There are various ways to peel the onion, if you will, or cut the apple or whatever you want to say. There's tons of ways to do things. So, to find your way that you think works best or the way that you communicate best and then do it. So that is all great advice that everybody's giving. A letter, I think letter is a great idea too. It's unique, it's different, it stands out. Not a lot of people use letters anymore, write letters to each other anymore. So maybe that is something that would work really well, simply because it does stand out. But yeah, sorry to hear going through that, man. It's tough, but you gotta get it done. Angel, thank you for that compliment, brother. I also love my tattoo, um, and I actually want to get another one. I want to get more. I want to get more for sure. It removes argument. I don't know if it removes argument, but it changes the tonality of the argument. You know, it's a new. It's just like you have to choose your battle, choose where you want to fight. Um, you're choosing a slow way to argue. You're choosing a slow way to have a difficult conversation, right? You're choosing the territory and the battleground by which you want to operate with that person with that hard conversation. So, um, yeah, the sandwich approach works well sometimes. Start with a positive, then the negative, end with another positive. I like that. I like the analogy of the sandwich. That's kind of cool, Angel. I think personally for me, when I communicate difficult things, I like to hit you with the truth right away. And then I also like to but I do like to preface the hit you with the truth right away with hey, listen, I'm going to say something that might cause harm. It might cause you to be upset. I might do that. Like it might hurt, but I'm not doing it to hurt you. Please know I'm on your side. I like to lay that out and remind people, hey, it's James. I'm on your side. I'm here. I'm here to fight with you. I'm here to help you. I'm here as a friend or as a family member, or whatever it might be. I'm here with you. And I have to say something that is going to hurt you, but it might be for the best, and here's the truth. And then I lay it out. So I like to do that. I love communicating that way because it sets the expectations, gets the person prepared. I actually sometimes, depending on how heavy the truth is, I sometimes actually ask the person like, "Hey, do you want to take a moment to like get yourself prepared? Like seriously, like do you want to breathe it out? Because I'm gonna say something, it's gonna hurt." Like I do that with people. I want them to be prepared for it. Because that's like it's difficult. It's difficult to deliver those hardcore messages. But you got to do it, because me personally, I have to do that. I have to tell people what I'm actually thinking, because if I don't and something happens to them, um, and if I didn't say that thing that needed to be said, then I would feel like I didn't do my best for them. So, and also, right, exactly, Angel. Hey, that's also saying, I do say that sometimes too. Here's what he said. I'm gonna show everybody. So he said, right, like, is right now a good time for a serious discussion? Here's the other side of that, though. Sometimes you shouldn't ask that question, I've learned, because that person might never be ready for that discussion or be ready for that truth, and you just got to hit them with it. You just have to lay it out. Because quite honestly, a lot of people don't want to have those real hard discussions. They don't want to do that. Uh, and it's just, you got to do it. It's like, hey, listen, I'm bringing it to you. This is the time. This is it now. I'm telling you right now what you got to hear. Um, so I mean, yeah. So just, feel it out. Feel it out. You will know that person better than what I do, or Angel, or Rocco, or anybody. Like, that person better than any of us. So Wade over here on Instagram is saying, a man with excuses will never have time for a serious conversation. Well, well. And when he says a man, he means a woman or a man with excuses will never have time for a serious conversation. That's real. That's real. Just mic drop on that. 100%, brother. That's right. Rocco said, timing is definitely emphasizing, definitely everything. If you bring something up at the wrong time, like in an argument you're already having, it will always come off as mouse. You know what? Rocco, I have to agree with that. 100%. I have to agree with that. That is, there's only been a couple of times where in the middle of an argument, something was the right timing for that time, for that thing to be brought up. But I always still did do the, hey, listen, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna tell you something right now that needs to be said. Unless it's like insane argument, then nothing, no hard truths or no hard anything is appropriate at that time, because then it will be taken as malice. It will be taken as I'm trying, and in fact, it should be taken as malice and as if you're trying to hurt that person, because at that point you're already angry at that person and you are just trying to hurt them. You know what I mean? Trying to get them. That's not it. If you love that person, you don't want to hurt people. You don't say things to hurt people if you love them, right? But sometimes you hurt people because you love them, right? But you have to choose the timing. You have to hurt that person with the truth, because truth hurts. Truth really does hurt, genuinely. And if it's kind of weird to say that, like, you can absolutely hurt someone that you love with the truth, or you are choosing to hurt them at the right time, which means you do love them, right? All in the same realm. So hurt meets right here. How are you using? Which path are you going to take? So timing really is everything. And in the middle of a heated argument, that is not the time for truths to be laid out. Like, I just told you the truth, or I just told you the truth, or what, depending on whoever's doing it. It just, don't be rude about it. Like, it's not tough though, Angel. It's actually not tough, brother. What's tough is, what I can agree with that is tough is, in the middle of an argument, if you don't have control of your mind, you will say things to hurt someone, and then you're just being a dick. So it's not tough, bro. You just got to know the timing of it, and you have to learn how to step back, and then you'll have a great relationship. Not saying that you don't or anything. I don't know, but could be the problem. So Wade said, I'd say though, when it comes to suicide, mental illness, physical illness, you have to look at it as we are already late. Fuck their feelings. True loyalty doesn't look like true love. That is so real. Um, Absolutely true. Actually, I agree with that too. Like, some true loyalty sometimes does not look like love. That's right. That is absolutely right. Um, and that's when it's like, hey, listen, I'm going to say that truth to you, but you can deliver it. You can deliver a hard truth, Wade. The other side of it is, uh, fuck their feelings to a point, right? Like, you still care about their feelings, but you don't. The side that you don't care about is the side that's going to hurt them with the truth, but you do care about their feelings in delivering the truth, right? So that's why you got to set and preface the conversation with the, hey, listen, I'm going to say something's going to hurt you. And I don't want to hurt you. I'm not doing it to hurt you. I'm not. I just want to tell you the truth, and you have to hear this. And I want to be here with you, and I want to discuss what I'm noticing. Right? Please, let's take this, dude. And then you say the truth after that. And I think that's a really fair way to deliver true shit. So Rocco said, unfortunately, an argument is when most bring up the things they've been sitting on for a while. But That doesn't make it right. I know you're not saying that, and it doesn't make it right. That's actually wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. And yeah, I'll take true loyalty over love. Funny, Angel. What's funny about that is, um, men value loyalty over true love. Women value love over loyalty, or something along those lines, or something like that. There was like a study that was done with those words. Maybe yeah, yeah. Yeah. A woman cares more about love, whereas men or respect. Men want more respect than love. Men require more. Like you have to respect me more than love me. That's what they want. They want more respect than love, not loyalty. But and women want that true love. They want to be loved. So there's a give and a take there, right? So the man has to. I love you, but I want you to respect me. I want you to because respect means loyalty, really, at the end of the day. But I thought that was pretty cool, the differences between men and women in that respect, mentally. I'm a woman, but oh, I'm sorry, Angel. My bad. I didn't know. Made an assumption. But yeah, respect is super important. I agree with you 100%. But again, sorry, Angel. My bad. I can't like click on your profile picture or see who you are. So please accept my apology. Um, but loyalty is logical and love is emotional. Yeah. Respect is also logical for sure. Thanks, Angel, for your acceptance there. But yeah, I definitely I think respect is so important, man. Because respect, you know what? I think respect can lead to love. I really do. I think respect is the pathway to love in many instances. Because there's also another thing that came out too, where like there was a huge survey that was asked or whatever. Like, did you love your married one at first sight? You know, it was like I think 20 or 30% of the people said yes, and then everyone else was like, no, no, I did not love them at first sight. I built up to that love. And I thought that was awesome. There had to have been something that attracted you to that person, or like how you met them or whatever. And there was a respect there that came out. So yeah, I think that might be, could be wrong. Just throwing out an opinion. I'm an idiot. So, remember that. So, respect can lead to love. I really do think that is it. Just like understanding is the pathway to peace, like inner peace or between nations or whatever the hell it might be. If you understand your opponent, it can lead, if you wanted to peace. It could also lead to war, of course, but it's just how do you choose to lead your life, with love first or hate. Um, so Wade said, I thought my wife was in a biker gang at first sight. Yeah, I could see that. Alyssa's also the shit, so we love Alyssa. But yeah, I could see that, how you could think she would be in a biker gang when you first meet her. Um, she's also just hilarious too. Uh, Got that awesome Boston accent that I don't know if she actually believes me when I tell her it's like my favorite accent. So, because I'm always like, "Yo, what's up? What's going on, Alyssa?" So she's kick ass. Boston, there, it's a Boston accent. Pocket car, Harvard Yard. What's going on, Alyssa? How you doing? And I don't know. She has no idea. How you doing? Boston, baby. But anyway, so my wife was beating her ex's ass when I first met her. I like him feisty. Damn. Yeah, Boston accents are so cool. I love Boston accents. What an interesting conversation that we're having right now. I kind of want to jump back into this. This is a really good one. Like the how do you have hard conversations? What a deep and very important topic to discuss, and the different strategies. So the this that and the other thing. Yeah, he has like a Boston. He has a Boston accent mixed with a New York accent, New Yorker. So we're talking about Anthony Delgado. He was on a FML for 2 episodes. Actually, he just got back from Ukraine and stuff. He actually deployed there, and I think it was for like a year or something like that, 2 years. So yeah, he went out there and did his damn thing. But anyway, the hard conversations are uh, they're super important, man. Like that's how you lead to super important growth, right? That's how you lead to growth. You got to go through that pain. That's also why. Hmm, It's also a reason why we want to continue taking, um, for our retreats and stuff. We want to continue taking veterans, first responders out to bison ranches, because there's actually a really cool analogy. with bison, which is bison are like one of the few or one of the only cattle like animal that goes into the winter storm, whereas many of them run away from the winter storm, which leads to many of those individuals or those individual cows to die or other herd animals to die. And bison survive because they actually walk through it. They get out of the winter storm sooner and quicker than the other animals. So they are not afraid to walk into the storm, which we should all be that way. Quite honestly, got to walk through the storm, go through the storm, and come out the other side and understand how you're better for certain things and maybe not better for other things. So, uh, I really love that analogy. I love that approach to having conversations and to teaching resilience. And by being there in front of it and seeing it for yourself is so crucial and powerful. So, Wade said, navigate the person. What lingo language works to include body language and pursue the truth, but help them find it. Don't give them the answers. Offer a million solutions for one person, not one solution for a million people. Yeah, I can get down with that. But also, in a way, you don't want to offer solutions, right? You said it yourself. You don't want to give them the answers. You don't want to give them solutions. You just want to guide them like through those conversations. Like that's really important. So the hardest conversations I've had were usually in PTSD groups. That's why we do what we do. And Raka responded to Angel, who said that the hardest conversations that she has had was usually in PTSD groups. And Raka said that's why we do what we do. We open up a lot better with those who understand our world, and that's true. That's real stuff. I have witnessed that in person. Um, some of the deepest, hardest conversations are going to be with fellowship and in fellowship with other people. That's why it's so important to have those kind of like peer settings or just friends and people you can be around, a community to be around, so you can have those difficult and say the truth. Like we're not obligated to dance around a truth, because of some uh, professionalism or whatever. No, no, no. We're going to tell you the truth that we're hearing because we are outside the bounds of that. That is one of the things that's a drawback in many, settings of, I guess you could say the one of the drawbacks of the healthcare settings, they do have to be professional, and that makes sense. That makes sense. They have to do that. Of course they do, right? Like that. To me, genuinely, that makes sense. Which is why it also makes sense to have something on the outside that you can be a part of, where the truth is going to be thrown at you about what your people around you in your community are hearing you say. It's very important. That is the benefit of what we're doing at Refit. One of the major benefits of what we're doing at Refit. Um, that's why I love this shit, you know? And yeah, so that's it. I just want to say that too. But so same with debriefings in the PEDS or and hospital setting. So Caitlin, could you tell what is the PEDS or same with debriefings in the PEDS or and hospital setting? I'm sure, by the way. So, Caitlin, what's up? Good to see you. She actually runs a softball team for veterans, first responders, and families. It's actually a softball team for the daughters of those families, and we sponsor that. I think we were one of their top sponsors, so it was really cool to be able to help out with their team and help out with those families, and it was an honor. So, thank you for being here, Caitlin. So she said that PEDS are in a hospital setting. So pediatric emergency room. Got it. Short for pediatrics. Got it. Understood. Understood. So PEDS, PEDS ER and hospital setting. I'll read it now properly. PEDS ER and hospital setting. So yep. Yep. Thank you, Rocco. Now that you understand also what PEDS is, it is emergency room is ER. Appreciate you. Absolutely fantastic though, man. Like that is good to hear that you also have those conversations and those deep conversations with each other, even in a hospital setting, with those debriefings, or in the military they call them AARs or after action reports. Those things are really important to have. Like you got to have the real conversations of what's happening. with each other, because you get that in fellowship with other people that understand. And then sometimes it's good to go to people outside of your group and your crew to talk to, because they might be able to offer you a whole different perspective that you didn't even hear. Um, it's peds, and I did know what it was, Jerk. Um, Thank you for explaining ER to me, because ER is very difficult for me to understand too. Talk about the jerk. So peds, but yeah, so that's really cool, Caitlin. That's awesome. And Angel said, I have AARs with my kids after social events. I love that. Like, what did you do? What happened? What went on here? That's really cool. I love that. That's actually really funny. We actually implemented something like that in Refit, where we have after retreat reports. So ARRs, where we get to talk with the retreat leaders and see what happened, what went well, what didn't, and what can be improved. It's pretty cool. I love having those. It's really good to learn. But yeah, Caitlin, with your experience being in pediatrics, I know that you got to have hard conversations all the time. I'm sure. With not only your employees, but also like your coworkers, but also with the families. Gosh, that's got to be tough. So we even do it after softball games. What went well, what did not, what can be improved. Yeah, that's great. You got to have those debrief settings for sure. Debriefs and AARs and ARRs and whatever you want to call them. It's a great way to learn. It really is a great way to learn and get, you know, you know, good feedback and things like that. 100%. That's really cool. Um, Let me see. I don't think I would love to have our guest come in here, man. I'm trying to see if I can get her in here. If anybody else wants to join me, I would love to have you guys come in. We got a few minutes left. Um, nope, nothing. All right. So let's see here. So Caitlin said, "Oh yes, we just had a traumatic case last month with a child. The debriefing was last week and brings up a lot of emotions, but very good to learn and be prepared for next time, etc." Yeah, that's a whole other context of the medical professional world. Like, man, you guys see so much shit. You get the worst of the worst coming into you, simply because that's where you go when really bad things happen. Sorry, I had to mute myself to sneeze real quick. But yeah, you guys have to go through the really hard stuff, because you get the really hard stuff thrown at you, um, constantly in our American society. You and I talked about some stuff on the real too, where you were like, you were like, I'm grateful that I grew up in a household that I did, where I was pretty sheltered and protected, but now I'm in the real world and I'm seeing it all, and it's like there's so many things and so many types of people that I didn't know could have existed or do exist. And it's a shock. And then you and I talked about how very similarly I went through a very similar experience where I was like, wow, this is the world's crazy. Like there's so much that's going on and so many things that I never understood. So you should, and it helps us nurses and doctors emphasize with each other, empathize. I'm sorry, empathize with each other and talk through emotions and such. It was great. That's toughness I could never face. Honestly, kids passing on, dude. Rocco, same, straight up. Like that is so tough. Um, it is. That is incredible. That does take an incredible strength. That is. It's something that I'm sure you're not happy that you had to get used to, but you were also built for it, obviously. You have a huge heart, Caitlin. Like I know you have a huge heart. You're a really, really good person. Always have been, actually. So it's really beautiful to see that you're taking that big heart of yours and putting it, into good action. So people need light, and you bring a lot of light. So really, really happy and proud to call you a friend too. So um, yeah, my mom being a nurse, for years. My brother a nurse, Lisa, she's a nurse, like so many people in my life that I know that are nurses, medical professionals, and the things that you guys had to go through, have to go through and have to see and have to work and help with. It's nuts. And you have to treat, the person that is the perpetrator, even, right? No matter who it is, you got to treat them. And it takes a special kind of someone to be able to do that kind of stuff. Um, Heck yeah, Kaylin, for real. Like, I've known you since high school. So, and I know you are that kind of person and it's real. You always have, like I said, you always have been. It's very evident and clear. So, I really have nothing but respect for people in the medical profession and field. I would argue sometimes like not paid attention to enough in some ways, in terms of the things that you do go through. But you know what, man? Like you get to grow in reality through that scenario and that setting. Like you see what really is happening. Same thing with law enforcement, the military, even actually, I'm going to bring up actually surprisingly too, not surprisingly. I'll explain why it's not surprising. But like lawyers, I know, crazy for me to say that. But lawyers actually see also and learn about, a lot of the horrible things that are happening, even down to the level where some lawyers who are like corporate lawyers, for example, who have to write certain things for like companies to be able to protect those companies and skate laws and things like that. Some of those guys like quit or commit suicide at a really high rate because they're like going against their morals so heavily. So not all, by the way, not all lawyers, and I'm not talking crap on lawyers or anybody. I'm just spitting out a fact. Lawyers have a super high suicide rate, because they have to deal with such incredibly difficult scenarios. And what they write, to write is to fight. I love saying that. To write is to fight. That's the next way in your life. Especially if you're a warrior, if you want to continue fighting, there's other ways to fight and to add to, helping the world become a better place. And one of the ways is through writing, through spreading the word or talking things out. It's a very powerful way, actually, to fight, if you will. And lawyers, they go through a lot of shit too, man. Um, I know it sounds crazy, but it's real. Um, but yeah, so I know for sure that healthcare professionals have a lot that they go through. Absolutely. Um, Damn, what else can we talk about today? Hard conversations. Actually, Caitlin, when it comes to hard conversations with, like, even with you and like your I guess not only with your friends and such, but also inside of your debriefing scenarios and settings. What is the thing that you lead hard conversations with? Like, what's the thing you say first? What's the thing you say first? Like to preface the hard conversation, or do you just kind of go at it? Like, what's your approach? Or with the families when you're delivering bad news? Or do you even have to do that? Is that the doctor that does that, or do you do that? And if so, right back to Rocco's question, how do you deliver the bad news? That's got to be tough. That's got to be tough. That actually, Rocco, I can tell you from my mom for years. She could come home and like she would be the one that delivered bad news to someone. Dude, would tear her up. She'd be crying and shit. It would tear her up. She's got to move forward. That's why my mom says to me. She says always forward. It's one of the things she says to me, and I learned from her. Always forward. So discussing the purpose of the debriefing. So yeah, okay. So like, hey, the purpose of us being here today is to discuss this scenario, what happened here, how you're feeling about it, blah blah. Is that kind of like how you guys lay it out? That's what you mean by that? Because you know what, it is different, right? So of course that makes sense. It's almost like a meeting. The debriefing is a meeting. So you're setting the goal and you're setting the agenda, if you will, for what we're trying to get at in this conversation. Um, that does make sense. That does make sense. And I think when you're having like the tough going, I'm bringing it all the way back to probably like 20 minutes ago now. Um, the truth conversations where you give the truth to someone, or you want to tell a friend of yours or a family member, or even just a person that you're talking to, tell them the truth is something you notice and it's something you're seeing. You tell them what you're going to say, might hurt their feelings or whatever. That's discussing, hey, the thing I'm going to say to you next is going to hurt. You're setting the agenda. You're setting the expectation. You're setting the expectation of what is going to come. You're setting the expectation when you discuss the purpose of the debriefing. You're setting the expectation for everyone and setting the goal and the course for everyone to follow. That totally makes sense. And I guess executing it. How is that done? Like, even for the hard when you're delivering bad news to families, like how do you deliver it and what's hard about that? I think that's still something I would want to. How do you approach that? I'd love to hear your experience with that. She said, yes. And we walked through the scenario, first point of contact to the very end, and then come back and fill in what went, what we need to improve on how things were communicated. Was our mutual respect provided amongst all staff members? Did we have all the resources we needed to comfort the families? Um, yeah, what went wrong? Yep. Interesting. That's actually really cool. Um, and needed to comfort the families. So did we have all the resources we needed to comfort the families? That's got to be so hard, man. Talking to the families immediately after. God, I can't wait to hear your response with your slow ass typing, obviously, on what you, on what you, and how you handle those hard conversations with the families. I'm genuinely very curious too. I am excited to see that. Not me. We're all waiting on Caitlin. No rush, just sitting here waiting for you. You guys get to look at the side of my face and in the front of my face and the things behind me. Beautiful refit shield here. I have a huge bison skull up there. I have a cup that I haven't brought down because I didn't see it. I got to bring this downstairs. Um, Whoops. So that will happen right after the episode here. Thanks, Rocco. It's a nice face. Appreciate you saying that. Um, it's a nice face to punch. Maybe a follow up on that. I would totally understand that too. Um, okay. She said, meanwhile, the nurses and doctors trying to save their child's life, we call in upper leadership to help explain step by step what we are doing and why to have conversations with these families. We are just honest. We do not give false hope, but do state we have tried to do everything possible. We're trying to do everything we can. Is there more? I think there might be more that isn't showing up. Dang, I think I need to. Let me see. Let me jump over to Facebook. I feel like there's a dot 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 there. That means there's more to the. Oh no, there isn't. That is everything. Okay. That is so tough. That is so tough because it's like, especially the false hope thing. You don't want to give false hope. You don't want to have the family, you don't want to lead them down. You want to prepare them for the worst. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best kind of scenario, I guess. And it totally makes sense. Like, listen, like, especially with pediatrics, man. Oh my God. Oh, that adds another level to it. It's like it's your baby, it's your child, like, hey, listen, we're doing everything we can, but damn. And then Rocco says something that's real. He's asking a very real question, actually. Is it tough to keep it strictly professional? Do you ever find yourself breaking character? And what is your outlet from the inherited grief I'm sure you get? So when he says your outlet from the inherited grief, like, what is your decompression? Honest, gentle support, answer any and all questions honestly. Yeah. Mm. Oh my God. That's so hard, man. Especially when it comes to So that's what Caitlin said, by the way. She said, honest, gentle support, answer any and all questions honestly, um, is the best way to actually move this thing, move the conversations forward. You know, no matter how hard they are. Um, and I'm also very curious. Like, is it tough to stay strictly professional? You know, like, do you ever break character and cry, or um, do you sometimes just get angry with the family? You know, I mean, I guess I don't know. Because if you get angry with the family, what are they angry about? Who are they angry at? Like, is it the hospital? Is it you? Is it your coworkers? God, it's got to be hard. So yes, my biggest challenge is abuse cases. Very hard to keep professional with the abuser or suspected abuser of a child. Goodness gracious. Yeah, that's got to be the toughest because you're looking at a bad person and you got to help that bad person. Gosh, you got to almost like pretend like you don't know that I know it's you that's doing this to the kid. Gosh, wow, that's actually what you and I talked about too when we are at the softball field, Caitlin. Like that's just God, fuck, that's crazy. That's so hard. Law enforcement officers go through that too. Um, a lot, actually, a lot. They go through that, where they can't. They have to be professional with this potential murderer or abuser or rapist or whatever it might be. Like a terrible person, they gotta be professional with them. No matter what. And Rocco said, "How do you heal from all of the trauma you see?" Yeah, what is your tactic for what is your outlet for the inherited grief? To bring it back to what he also said, like what is your outlet that you can maybe pass on to others, Caitlin, that other people can use? God, that's so tough. My goodness. She said, "My outlet is cry in the supply room or bathroom, try to pull it together and keep going. The hardest is having a child pass and then 5 minutes later having to pull it together and smile to greet the next patient. Very hard. Eats me up sometimes." Yeah, that's actually that sounds like my mom. Um, what she says that she used to do. Um, Dang, it's crazy. And because that's why she says like always forward, always forward. Um, like I'll go cry, I'll go be upset, and then I'm gonna be on my shit again. So on my off days, I coach girls softball. Heck yeah, my passion. That is my therapy. That's fantastic, Caitlin. And now I'm even more grateful that we got to that Refit and our donors and everyone got to support you and the team that you are coaching because you also need that, and you get to support. With us, you're supporting veteran family members and police officer family members, and you're also a police officer family member, firefighters, and EMTs and everyone in between. So super cool that we get to help you even in your therapy as well. So that's really awesome to know. And it also makes sense that would be your therapy. I also love softball and playing softball. So I get it. Like it's just a way to turn off your brain. Um, but yeah, when you're in a supply, you have to go off to the supply room. That reminds me of one of my favorite interviews that we've ever done. Literally one of my favorites. It was actually from a leader, a ranger, of a combat unit, and how he said one time he was in front of his guys, in front of his unit, and they just lost a couple of guys on a mission, really hardcore firefight that they had to fight out of, and that they were able to get out of victorious, but they lost a couple of guys in the fight. And he said, before I could even, like he said, I went in front of the room. I was talking to the guys, and I was like setting basically the AAR, setting it, the expectations and the what we're going to talk about, the purpose of the meeting and the purpose of the AR. And he's like, I had to stop and I had to excuse myself from the room because I went into the bathroom and locked myself in the bathroom and I cried in the bathroom. and I did that for 45 minutes straight. And then I came out and I was ready to go. And I stood in front of everyone, like nothing happened, and talked to them. And I got all of their shit. And the guys who were crying and yelling and pissed off and everything, he was able to take it because he just processed it himself. And he came back a better leader and better emotionally for those guys in that moment. So that's what, when you go to that supply room or bathroom to cry, that's what I think of. So you're doing the right thing for those families and the people that you're helping and supporting, Caitlin. So that's really cool. That's really badass. Um, so Ray said, is anyone out there able to help a vet who's becoming homeless with a service dog? Yeah, we're on that. So it's actually Ray is asking for himself. We're gonna do some more digging for you, bud, and we're going to figure that out for sure. We are going to figure that out very soon, hopefully. I'm going to call Dan after this, and we're going to get on the phone and talk about who else we can reach out to. I think I might have some more contacts in mind, but I'll help you out, Ray. Um, so, especially in the emergency room, I've worked ICU too. Those kiddos were born sick, still very sad, but we know they are sick and a little more emotionally prepared for the worst. But the pediatric emergency room, it's a sudden, shocking loss most times. Um, Previously, healthy kid now being coded so hard, and thank you so much for sponsoring us. Our banner is currently being made now and will probably hung at our field soon. That's really cool. Sheepdogs gear coming your way soon. That's cool. Can't wait for that. um Everything you are doing is awesome as well. Super grateful for you and Project Refit. Same. Yeah, Ray, we got you, brother. We absolutely will be doing that. We're gonna help you out, dude. 100%. So and if anybody has any resources that's on here for housing for veterans, let me know. Let Ray know. Hit us up, and we'll get him over there in contact. He is not looking to go into the city. He wants to go somewhere probably not urban, more rural. So if there's any houses that are available that have rooms, actually, Ray, would you? Uh, are you trying to stay around South Jersey and the Delaware Valley area, or could we also maybe look up in Delaware or North Jersey? Let me know. But yeah, Caitlin, to answer to get back to you with that, absolutely. I mean, dealing with children who are coding, and coding meaning passing away, to people who might not know what that is. Um, or coded, that's really tough. That's got to be so tough because that child hasn't even lived a full life yet. They haven't even been able to see. It's going to sound crazy, but they haven't been able to see how good the world is and how evil the world can get. Both are, in a way, oddly to say enough, a gift. You actually get to see what the world is. You get to experience life. Some of these kids don't get that opportunity, and that's really fucking sad. Um, you know, it's really sad they don't get to experience anything in life. So, yeah, it's really tough. Sure, Ray, no problem, man. I'm here to support vets. Absolutely here to support you, bud. Um, and we'll do our best for sure. I do have some meetings coming up after this. You know, this show here, this FML episode. But Dan is also available, and I have some other guys that I know are looking into this for you. So if you want to text me some of the things, that would be really helpful too. It'll help me to kind of like get the information out. So for sure. So indeed, especially when someone intentionally takes that away from them. Yeah, that, and it goes right back to the abuser thing where you can't. It's really hard for you to stay professional in those scenarios. Yeah, that's got to be so hard because it's like, why would you do that to the kid? Why would you do that to that child? Intentionally. That's actually something a lot of. I know there's some combat vets that struggle with that too, where they were tricked by one of the most evil tricks that some of these terrorists that they fought against would play. They would use kids. They would actually use kids unknowing to the veteran. So unknowing to the active duty member that was in combat at that time, and they knew it would destroy, the American soldier specifically because they saw how much the American soldier tried to protect women and children constantly because they have a code of ethics. So, really did fuck with a lot of guys, and it's so evil. So you get to see how that happens even here in the United States, and that's evil and that's horrible. And I'm sorry they have to go through that. I really empathize with that. Um, it's tough, man. Yeah, kinda. There's other things I'm not gonna go into details because, you know, I'm not gonna do that. But, kinda. Not really though. Even worse. To be completely honest with you, even worse. So, um, that doesn't even scratch a fucking surface. Um, but yeah, there's definitely things, which is why I'm pretty hardcore, about the trying to support so many veterans and support those guys where I can. Um, you know, just offer some kind of solace and community beyond just a veteran, another veteran, because sometimes that's where the incredibly negative you almost get caught in the negative, whereas you need to have somebody from the outside, maybe a civilian, like in the case with me, talking to you about like, hey, listen, like it's not just all negative. There are also good things out here, which is why it's so important to refit. We're building a full community. We're trying to build a full community of individuals to talk about the veteran or the first responder or the family member experience, because it's good to have other opinions from the outside for you to combat what that negative side is. Many veterans actually inside of our group are uncomfortable with that thought process and understanding. They even have an issue with me being not a veteran, and helping and talking to them. But in reality, it also comes with the context of, hey, listen, but you can still get help and support and have somebody listening to you that isn't a veteran. It's one of the things that is we're combating that wrong form of thinking, quite honestly, because it does take a whole community. If you look at the Native Americans, for example, how they welcomed home their warriors and such, and welcomed home their hunters from big hunts and long hunts. It you know they actually committed self-harm together with that individual, so they felt welcomed back into the society again. So we're trying to have something like that happen along those lines. It's like, hey, let's feel that same pain with you, and um let me also go through that story with you and support you through that. So sometimes, like, if you have somebody in your life that went through those scenarios, take the time to hear that evil shit and get woke up to, what actually happens, because it also helps out that civilian. It's another form of leadership. So through that story, they can also heal. But yeah, man, it's all it's a complete mental game. It's all psychological, which is why it's one of the most powerful forms of warfare is psychological warfare. Um, you know, Fucking Sun Tzu even said the wisest of warriors don't win on the battlefield. They don't even fight. The wisest of warriors learn how to win off the battlefield. So there's other ways to write to is to fight. That's why I love saying that. To write is to fight. There's other ways to win a battle and to win a war. So psychologically is arguably one of the most important. But yeah. So our guys are fighting the war. They're bringing it home with them, and they continue to stay in their spot, which is really difficult to watch and to see when they have so much potential in them because they know the real world. They see the real world. There's so much value to bring. It's actually one of the inspirations for why I wanted to even do refit. Is I looked into it from a economic standpoint. Veterans are the smallest subset class in the United States, and they bring in the most GDP actually. And then you're talking about the smallest subset of people in the United States with that designation of veteran. And then even smaller than that are the ones that are not even smaller, but smaller than that just by literally the numbers of, like, you have one group, and then out of that group, even if it's 80% of them that are working, that 80% that are working, I'm just throwing out a number. I don't know how many of them are working, bring in the most GDP in the United States, the most. So that means if we can increase the number of individuals that believe in themselves again, instead of victimhood, but empowerment, and instead of being victims of their circumstances, they become victors of their circumstances, as Wade loves to say, then you will find a healthier, better society overall. I mean, that is literally just by the numbers. So I mean, it's really one of my major motivations, like personally, that's one of my personal major motivations why I even wanted to start this fight and enter into this fight and then take the shit that I have to take in terms of, like, well, you're not even a veteran, all that shit that I have to deal with. And it's like, well, it's a different way of helping and serving. So, and I have to deal with that, but it's okay. It's worth it because I know that person that says, like, you're not even a veteran. Sometimes that person is what needs the most help. So, and almost always it is the person that needs the most help that is saying something like that. And I'm down. I'm down for it, because maybe one day they will grow into the mindset of, like, you know what? Wait, that guy helped me out. Maybe there's other people out there that are worth helping, that we're worth fighting for and worth living for. Right. And then maybe my life has more purpose in it. And maybe I can do more. And maybe I can do more. They begin to believe in themselves. So I just want to get out of the victim mindset and get more into the victor. Go make what you want out of your life. Because everything's made up anyway. So go make up your own life. Go do your own thing. Just go do it. When I say everything's made up, like the entire society that we live in, like we created it. We built the houses, like we literally made these. They are created. They were made up. We built them. So I mean, it's just the truth. So, and we're constantly learning and relearning, and it's cool. Anyway, really good episode today, and thank you, Caitlin, for sharing your experience. Actually, here towards the end is being a medical professional and kind of what you go through, and what other first responders go through as well, and some of the challenges and traumas you carry and hold and bring. It's just it's fantastic. I'm so happy you got to shed light in that arena. And I would also challenge you at any time, Caitlin, that if you ever do want to know about the real shit that some of these guys went through, I would welcome you to have that conversation with someone. I would love to have you come to a fireside chat, even where you can learn a little bit from veterans and what their real experiences are. It's a real value. It's very hard to hear sometimes, especially if you're not used to it or anything like that. But it's very important too to know the real world and what real life is beyond the United States of America inside of war zones. So it just helps you become more well-rounded, which is again the major value of why civilians have to step up too. Like me, I'm a civilian, right? Stepping up to go help out because even though some might be like, "Why do you care?" And it's like because I do, man. Like it's improving me. Helping you helps me, right? And some guys are very negative about it, like to talk about it, whatever. But just keep doing it anyway because we're a society that needs to heal. We're a society that needs to grow together. So thank you again. I appreciate everybody for being here. Sabina over on Instagram, I'm sorry. She said, "Thank you for all that you do. My pleasure. Literally, I love doing it. It's my honor. I'm going to do it for the rest of my life." And then she said, "Yup, it's hard for so many. I missed the Air Force, but my body could never go back." That's real shit. And she said, "Indeed, I will absolutely come to one. This was great today. Thank you." Absolutely, Caitlin. No problem. Rocco, I salute back to you, buddy, with another emoji. I wish I could send emojis on here, but I can't through Restream. But thank you, everybody.